goes pretty far back. Just over the course of the years that I've served with Bruce, let me say that he has been a constant reminder of exactly why I love the state of Arkansas and the people of Arkansas. What a humble and kind, strong, patriotic American man you have served here. Thank you, Bruce, for inviting me, and I'm very honored to serve with you. I have lived an interesting life, I suppose. Some would say overly interesting. I'm an Army veteran. I enlisted in the Army as a much younger man, a military police officer, and was honored to serve my country. Did pretty well in the Army. I went on to serve my country as a civilian police officer for many, many years. I have been blessed by a beautiful family. I'm the seventh of 8 children. My family represents really what I believe America is. And I'd just like to touch on that. And then if I could, if I'm allowed, I have 6 sisters, so I always ask permission of the ladies. If it's okay, I'm open the floor for questions here very quickly. Is that okay? All right. My father told me very young that the 2 wisest words ever put together were yes and ma'am. I say yes ma'am a lot. So imagine 200 years ago, think about the world. A young man born into indentured servitude in Ireland, especially Western European slavery for white folk. Where you're born of a family that's allowed to own no land, because you're not royal blood, you're not wealthy. So you can work, you can eat, but you can't own. Your freedom's incredibly limited. So imagine a young man hearing the whisper of a nation born across the ocean, where an average child of God, a young man that was not born with wealth or royalty, would keep his earnings and own land. A nation that had been born wherein the people advised the government what parameters within which the government would operate, where the people themselves elected the officials that would represent the citizens. This was so astounding for the whisper of such a nation to come into the mind of a young man working as an indentured servant. And this happened across Europe, across the world, primarily in Europe. So the young man risked everything to save his coin and book passage on a vessel that had been converted from carrying cargo vessel, carrying human beings. It sailed literally by the way the wind blew into the port of New Orleans about 200 years ago. That was my ancestral forefather. According to a letter that my mother unearthed many years later, the sleeping berth on that vessel measured 2 by 2 by 5. Many young Irishmen didn't make that trip, didn't survive, but my ancestral forefathers did. And he arrived in the land of the free and worked very hard, became an American citizen. His family grew, went through incredible challenge, and the next generation to him was born just in time to face the Civil War. And somehow, the family survived and grew and prospered. A hard-working American example of what it requires to remain free. The courage to be willing to stand your ground, to stand upon the core principles of your family and your culture, to keep and bear arms reflective of our rights bestowed upon us by God, recognized by man, and etched forever into our Constitution. Many generations later, 1922, my father was born. His lineage had been replete with courageous stands by young American men and families. And for my father's 19th birthday, he got World War II. And like millions of American young men, he got up and joined the military. My dad was a Navy pilot in World War II. He served his country, came home, never a word of complaint. He had married his sweetheart, with my mom, during the war. And then he began building his family. And in 1961, his 7th child was born. That's the man who's standing before you right now. We've been through a lot as a nation. Each of us, our families, we represent a thread that's woven into the flag that waves in glory above us. Some of us make no apology for our love for our country. Right. We're going to stand. We're going to fight for the core principles, the culture, the history, the heritage, all of it, all of our history. It belongs to us. Good and bad, it's ours. Many of us are prepared to give our last life's blood in defense for our country, for the future generations yet unborn. It's what the Second Amendment is all about. About recognizing the fact that mankind has fallen since Adam. Corruption is born in the hearts of man, not the mechanisms of man. The government is a mechanism of man. So, some of us don't trust the government. I make no apologies about that. That's kind of why I'm in it. Yeah, I don't trust the government, but that's all right. I carry 1911. Ladies and gentlemen, in my humble opinion, you represent the very best of what it is to be an American and what it is to be a child of God. We don't take things for granted. We recognize that our freedoms are earned, preserved, maintained by the courage of each man and woman, of each family that has been blessed to call ourselves children of God and American citizens. We have such deep feelings when that flag waves going. This is the Lord's whisper within us. It's the very best part of us. It's the part of us that we strive to embrace. It's the better man that we struggle to become. It's a breath within us